Hey guys, I'm back, and with me another Speedart. This one is of Sonic the Hedgehog from my latest animation. I researched a bunch of designs and versions of Sonic to create for this animation, which you should all check out on the main channel if you haven't already. With that said, I wanted to let you know what I think are the top 10 best Sonic designs. And for this list, I'll be including some of the power-ups if they deserve a place on this list. So without any further jibber-jabber, let's jump into it. And I'll be giving you a tiny hint as to what the next animation on Animated will be in this list, so stay tuned for that if you're curious. Coming in 10th is the 3D Sonic model as seen in Sonic R and Sonic 3D Blast. This is a great, blocky, and simple-shaped version of classic Sonic, especially considering the limitations of the hardware at the time, and really I think because of the simplicity it has its own style, which is not really seen in later versions of Sonic's model. His head is huge and his hands are blocks, but is quite nostalgic for me and just really cute. In 9th is Ugly Sonic from the Chip and Dale movie. Now say what you want about Ugly Sonic himself, but his inclusion in this film was both hilarious and super cool. They leaned into the uncanny hideousness of the character and play everything for laughs. The darker blue helps to make him stand out from the original model, and the uncomfortable close-ups really show off his new hideous face. Really, Ugly Sonic here works really well. In 8th is Sonic's model from the 2006 game, Sonic the Hedgehog. He's a little lankier and a brighter blue than the usual modern Sonic look, but the model itself is quite beautifully done. It refines all the features seen in the earlier games with the advanced gaming tech at this time, and the model is much more expressive. It's also the first model to have an actual animatable mouth. At least I think that's true. I'm not the biggest Sonic history buff, so let me know in the comments if I'm right or wrong there. Either way, it's a great look despite the awful story choices in this game, and it would influence the models of later games too. In lucky number 7 is the original Japanese box art design. This look is just iconic. While the American version is obviously more common where I live, the original is just so great in its simplicity. Designed to be similar to and also compete with Mario, but also is totally different in its own way. The gloves, the red shoes, the blue coloring, and the large quills are also iconic with the character now, so for being the first take on the character and really knocking it out of the park, it easily deserves to be on this list. At number 6 is Sonic's model from Sonic Adventure 2. This model notably has more detailed shoes because of some sort of sponsorship they had at the time, but really I think it captured the modern Sonic design the best of the earlier platform games, especially with the way it depicted his body and head proportions. And also his torso seems a little bit more buff here. The game itself is also a banger, so there's no harm there either. In number 5 is the classic Sonic model from Sonic Generations. This is the first time that classic Sonic was created with modern 3D technology, as far as I know, and I think they perfectly translated him from his box art and pixel games into a beautiful 3D model that feels unique and new, but also nostalgic for the earlier games. So it's really a great time to see him brought back here, and I know he's appeared in newer games with slightly different models, but I think the first one is the best. In number 4 is the modern Sonic redesign of the late 90s. This made Sonic go from cute to cool and influenced how he was seen by generations of people. It of course has a darker coloring and is taller and totally different than the classic model, but all these changes kept the Hedgehog relevant in the extreme late 90s and reinvigorated the character with younger and both older audiences. For those reasons alone, this redesign had to make the list. And it's also just a stellar redesign of the character, while still holding in the essence of what made Sonic so cool to begin with. Before saying my top 3, please let me know your top 3 or even top 10 if you want down below. I'd love to see your list. With that said, number 3 for me is his movie design. In particular, I love the way he looks in the newest film, Sonic 3. Of course, he is still larger in comparison to how small he was in the first film, but the colors just seem to pop more in the third film, just a little bit more. While some fans don't like the blue arms that the movie version has, I actually think it works better in live action, and while I like the tan arms in the games, the blue arms here just work better as what probably an animal would actually have, and the eyes being separate also works better in live action as well, because you can't really do that unit eye without it seeming kind of weird. So I really think the company, listening to what the fans wanted when they first put out that original trailer with the original design, and they helped to create a near perfect live action interpretation of Sonic. In second place is his werehog look from Sonic Unleashed. I have no idea why this was disliked by fans at the time. I guess Sonic is usually fast and the Werehog is more lumbering, but really I think it is his most unique and fun power-up. I love how bulky and large the character is, and I like that he has his own abilities like the stretchy arms. I hope we see this power-up or similar ones pop up in newer games soon. And for those curious about what the next Tellid animated video will be, number 2 on this list is a small hint to what it might be, so just keep that in mind. But in first place is his design from the Sonic CD animations. It's just so angular and sleek, but converts everything you need to see from a classic Sonic design. Even the way it's animated, I believe, hasn't been matched on screen in any other cartoon version, at least the way that he's speeding around. This design was so good it served as inspiration for the Sonic Mania shorts design and the Sonic Origins animation designs. So for my money, the Sonic CD design is second to none for this franchise. So that's my list of the best Sonic designs. Let me know your favorites down below. Check out the latest animation on Tellid Animated to see and learn about Sonic and his very long history. And before I sign off, I want to thank Kobe CD and Shane Vance for supporting the Patreon recently, as well as all my other supporters. If you want to hear me butcher your name, maybe check out the Patreon. Until next time, I've been Aaron, and I'll tell you something later.